So this is 54 Wellington. This is a commercial project in Collingwood. Just want to quickly acknowledge the traditional owners and custodians of the land and where the project is located, the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung people. So it's located kind of in the heart of this commercial district in Collingwood, just off Wellington, just up from Victoria Parade. Just at a high level, just an overview. It's a commercial project, mid to large scale. So NLA, just over 15,000, 12 stories. Lots of good things on sustainability. Green Star well. We think as a benchmark project, this probably moves beyond the kind of box ticking, and some of what I'll show you is a lot of the innovation that came out of the transformation of the site. So it's mixed use, Telstra, which is still there and was there through construction, commercial and a bit of retail. Lots of good things, but we think this is probably the sort of future of sustainable commercial development. Just a bit on partnerships. We think the stewardship and sustainability is really critical, especially on a commercial project of this size. Quite a sort of tumultuous time, lots of things happening. There's a COVID bubble in the middle of that. But what's important is the kind of continuity and stewardship of the project that the team was, even though some of those organisations dropped off, project kept going. So I think it's a good result, and probably the dedication of the team made it sustainable, but probably improved that sustainability thing. It's also sustainability in 2015 when we started was, for us, completely different mindset than where we're at now. So I think we've perhaps wasn't ambitious at the time, but that kind of stretching of the time actually allowed sustainability to become bigger and better than what it was at the beginning. It is in the heart of this commercial area and is very local for us. So this is pretty much in our backyard. We're a block away. The Melbourne office for us is literally around the corner. So we watched over that period as the building went up. This is really about transformation. So this area in Collingwood, and you'll probably see that JCB building later, has really just kind of bloomed since that 2015 inception. And kind of what makes it possible is Telstra, really. This is probably a handshake dollar deal that was made to develop over Telstra with Grocon at the time, and that scale of development didn't really exist, but changed in the neighbourhood from light industry and manufacturing to places where people work. So that side of Wellington is commercial, this side that the photo's taken on is residential. So quite a transformation happening in the area. We call this the approach to the kind of site development of the building, this adaptive campus approach. So playing off the smaller 1-2 level scale of a lot of those existing buildings, the Telstra building that remained, but also working with the streets in Collingwood are very tight. They're almost laneway size and the footpaths are quite narrow. So how it hits the ground is really important, how it relates to that is existing context, and how people engage in the ground plane is really critical. So just again, from that diagram to the end result, the Telstra single level brick building there. We've got the companion building that we've called this precast building that faces Wellington and Northumberland, and then the tower is set back significantly off the street. What we were given from day one was a really complex site with Telstra kind of developing over 100 years, adding to it, just kind of Frankensteining the site. Was about 30% left to build. So for a commercial project this size, really complex, and how we were going to land on top of this. This drove a lot of the sustainability and kind of forced the sort of approach from the ground, the structure, just the way that we had to sort of engage with Telstra and those existing things. What made it feasible was Telstra downsizing, so going from expanding size of tech to shrinking tech made the need for that land not necessary anymore. So that's what made it feasible. Just what was there was lots of existing infrastructure, basically building over tunnels, and eventually coming to the conclusion that we would need to drop columns through Telstra. So the response had to be delicate, sensitive, and lightweight. So that drove a lot of the kind of material and structural systems that we had to employ to make this project work. The ground plane is difficult to disengage what we were putting in from Telstra. So again, the companion building on the left with the laneway that connects entry to companion building, entry to Telstra, entries to the tower itself. Car stacker on the right. And so what you have is this very kind of engaged ground plane. The structural gymnastics were quite complex, so dropping columns through Telstra, building a very lightweight but high spanning transfer podium to get the tower above it. Very complex. What it also meant is we had to build from the ground up, so no in the ground structure. So car parking is in this automated car stacker, which means it's very efficient, very compact, but also brought it to the street front. The building envelope was quite an important piece of sustainability. There was a strategy of consolidating all that infrastructure and millwork on the ground, but also then creating a kind of more efficient tower above that. So the strategy with the facade was to use a standard curtain wall system, but within that play with glazing and spandrel conditions. So we've introduced kind of orientation responsiveness, so vertical spandrel panels that allow us to respond to the, it's about a 60-40 wall to window, so that's average, but on the west the strategy allows us to really block out a lot of that western facing sun, for instance, but open it up on the north and south. Playing off the existing kind of warehouse and industry, the companion building really exemplifies a kind of 10% exceptional, 90% really good. So we could focus a lot of attention on the companion building, operable windows where we couldn't get it on the tower, very light and lean, hybrid CLT structure. So that's 8 minutes, isn't it? A flick through.